Hi, this is my video review for the random esoteric creature generator for classic fantasy role-playing games and their modern simulacra by James Edward Raggi. This is basically like a thick brochure or a pamphlet, and it describes a process to generate aberration type monsters. That is, monsters that your player characters are not supposed to negotiate with them, they cannot barter or talk with them, because these are mindless beasts that are bent on killing or devouring your player characters. So, well, first of all, the book is printed in decent paper. It's not exactly the best and not the worst. It's just good. It does the job. And the ink is pretty good too. It doesn't stain your fingers. And you can see a bunch of old school illustrations. You can see the guy with his 10-foot pole over there searching the ground for traps. And you can also see a few monsters that can be created with this book. All very aberrant or otherworldly. You can see also some weird old school illustrations because of the proportions and the angle. They seem a bit goofy. But I'm really disappointed by the cover because it shows this like weird satyr creature with the horns like that look like antlers, stag antlers, and arms that look like mantis arms. But it looks like something a high school student would have hastily prepared using Photoshop or something like that. The process is fairly simple. You generate a few basic characteristics like armor class, damage, alignment, and such, and then you start generating all these weird appendages that come out of the monster's body, the exact shape of the monster's body. For example, you can see here an eyeball with wings and some strange-looking claws over there, and a shark with crab-like pincers. And you generate those monsters like they look like mutants or like nightmares. You can also generate dice-looking monsters. All the dice are here, like a 20-sided die, the 6-sided die, etc. But those are too goofy in my opinion. They must be used sparingly, but because if your players keep fighting against monsters that look like role-playing dice, the whole campaign is going to look just pretty goofy. Well, if that's the type of game you're going for, I guess it's okay. You can also create insect-like monsters, amoeba-like monsters, all by rolling a 20-sided die or a 100-sided die, or even a 200-sided die, which is generated by rolling a pair of 100-sided dice. And overall, you start creating these monsters that are pretty much mindless creatures, just hungry, looking for player characters to eat, and you can't really negotiate or interact in a more diplomatic way. James Raggi also gives a bit of information about how to use them in his introduction and in some parts of the booklet. But as some of you may know, James Raggi has a very strict, some would say close-minded role-playing game philosophy. He tells you that you should only use one type of monster in a single adventure site. So for example, if you're using a skeleton, your whole dungeon should be populated by that kind of skeleton and nothing else. And this only applies to a very specific type of game. For those of you that like dungeons with various types of creatures and like to add a bit more variety to the monsters and animals that inhabit that place, will feel disappointed by this introduction or procedure by Raggi. I recommend this book if you are an old school player that enjoys games like Lamentations of Flame Princess and Labyrinth Lord, especially if you add extra weirdness to those types of games and campaigns, because you can create some pretty alien and horrifying creatures that will certainly challenge your players because they will never know what to expect. But I wouldn't exactly recommend this as a must-have for more modern RPGs like Pathfinder, because They are morely geared to old school campaigns where players die and so many times, and certainly not in more heroic types of games where if you die you get resurrected and things like that, because these monsters are here to devour the player characters and eliminate them for good, and to cause horror in the gaming table because of their lethality and their I don't know, unknown properties. I guess you could work them in a Pathfinder game, but you should modify certain things so that they don't look too much out of place in your campaign, or if they are supposed to look out of place, there should still be a coherence on how you use them. Well, thanks for watching my review. If you have any comments, please type them down. I will read it. See you later.